I'm Ginny, and today I'm going to share with you a very brief introduction to tapping, or EFT, for beginners. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. You will also hear it called tapping. It gained a lot of popularity in the United States about 15 years ago, and it falls under the umbrella of energy medicine. It's a technique that is very easy to learn and do on your own, and it is also very powerful to do with a coach. There are a lot of free resources online. I encourage you to check them out. Even our library is large. We have short 5 to 10 minute taps on a range of things, including stress, anxiety, grief, creating something new, etc. And a lot of these free resources that are on YouTube are a great way to learn more about EFT tapping and just try it, see if you like it. Different healing modalities work for different people. EFT is evidence-based and it's very easy. What we do in EFT or tapping is we combine acupoints with physical tapping on the body. For example, this is 1 point, collarbone. So we're tapping with 1 or 2 fingers on this specific point. And what we do is we go around. The basic recipe involves going around to the basic points and saying specific things. So I'll just share with you a little bit more about the basic recipe, which is a great place to start as a beginner. So we usually start on the side of the hand, and we will say 3 times what we're working on. So for example, you'll see a lot of resources for anxiety or stress. So what we would do is we would tap on the side of the hand. This is called the side of the hand point. You'll see people use 1 finger, 2 or 3, and then we state what we're working on. And it can be as simple as anxiety, or it could be a full sentence. I have anxiety. It could be a whole story. Whatever it is, the basic recipe is that we say it 3 times. And then we say an acceptance statement. For example, I completely love and accept myself. Now that statement doesn't resonate with everybody, especially if they're working on something big. They might not feel very accepting of themselves. So you could use other statements. You can make things up. I like to use I am where I am. If I know that a client is really not open to, they're not going to feel it as deeply if they're saying, I completely love and accept myself. So I might say, and have them repeat, I am where I am. I also really like, and I am exactly where I need to be on this journey. And I might mention what we're working on. For example, stress. I completely accept where I am on this journey with stress. So a lot of these things can be made to be longer statements or shorter statements. So we do the setup and then the acceptance statement. And then we go into the body with the other points. And you'll see on the example videos that we have and that many practitioners have, we tap on a point and then we leave a space for you to repeat after me. So using the example again of anxiety, the first point is called eyebrow point, and it's the space between the eyebrow and the bridge of the nose. And with all these points on the body, you can do both sides or one. I do have a lot of clients that like to do both sides. It just feels more balanced to them. For the purposes of our demonstrations, a lot of times I'm just doing one side. So for example, let's go further with anxiety or stress. We might just say anxiety. And then the next point is the side of the eye, anxiety. And I encourage people to breathe deeply, especially as we're starting. Notice what's coming up, because you might have started with anxiety and now it's something else. If you're working with a coach, you can kind of evolve it. If you're starting on your own, it's nice to keep with the same emotion for a round. The next point is here under the eyes, that soft spot just above the bone, anxiety. Breathing. And then under the nose, you'll see people do this way, and then also you'll see people sometimes do the side. So it depends on if you have some sensitivity there, you might be more comfortable tapping with the side of the finger. And the same thing on the next point, which is the chin. You'll see people do it straight on or on the side of the finger. Anxiety. And then the next point is called collarbone, and it's actually just under the collarbone point. So there's the little collarbone, bony point, and just under that, there's a little indentation. That's where the point is. And with all of these points, you don't have to be as specific as an acupuncturist would be, because we're not using needles. We're just tapping in that general vicinity. You can use 1 or 2 or 3 fingers. Anxiety. And then the next point is under the arm. It's called under the arm. It's about 4 inches under the armpit. It's the spleen point. Anxiety. And then sometimes you'll see practitioners use the top of the head. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. With this point, you can tap or you can massage. Actually, with all the points, you can massage if you have sensitive areas on your body or you don't like the tapping. Or if you're going for a long time, you might feel better switching over to kind of massaging it. So then we would go through all the points again. Eyebrow, side of eyes, under the eye, under the nose, chin, collarbone, under the arm, and top of the head. And then I'll usually have people shake out their hands, and I like to place one hand over the heart space and the other hand on top of that hand. And then sit for a moment and notice the emotion. Notice if it has changed. And validate for yourself that you showed up to try the experiment, to do the tapping. Perhaps you had a breakthrough. If you're just doing a 5 or 10 minute follow along online, maybe you'll do it again and again. You can decide based on how you feel at the end of a round, whether you want to go again or whether you want to use a different emotion. EFT or tapping helps you to move through emotions, to transform them without going into the story. It's very powerful. It's evidence-based. There are a ton of free resources online and even on our website. So thanks for joining to learn a little more about tapping. I hope you enjoy it.